Welcome to Film Movie Recaps. Thanks for hanging out with us. We appreciate you. Have a wonderful day, and let's begin.
Warning, spoiler alert.
A brilliant scientist creates a humanoid robot with advanced AI capabilities, only to see his creation develop its own emotions and become a threat to himself and humanity. Today, we'll be looking at a 2010 science fiction action film called Enthiran, or Robot. Get comfortable. The movie begins with the introduction of a brilliant scientist, Dr. Enthiran, also known as Dr. Vasi. He is engrossed in creating an android humanoid robot, dedicating his time and energy towards this project. Despite this, he disregards multiple calls from his girlfriend, Sana. After working tirelessly, Dr. Vasi completes the development of the robot, which is capable of performing basic human movements like standing and walking. Then he transfers all the necessary information, including language arts, to the robot, allowing it to exhibit human-like behavior. Frustrated with her boyfriend's lack of communication, Sana goes to Dr. Vasi's lab, but he refuses to see her. Upset, she leaves in tears. Dr. Vasi's assistants train the robot in speech, but he discovers that they have been teaching it abusive phrases, leading him to admonish them. To enhance its realism, Dr. Vasi covers the robot with human-like skin and clothing. When he returns home, he introduces his creation to his parents. Dr. Vasi's mother names the robot Chitty. However, Chitty's lack of logical thinking becomes evident when it smashes a TV on the floor after being ordered to turn it on. Dr. Vasi then trains Chitty to drive, which leads to an accidental crash at his expensive Mercedes. Chitty's thirst for knowledge is further displayed at a barbershop when it rapidly scans through magazines and demands more books. When Dr. Vasi meets with Sana, the two of them end up in an argument due to his busy work schedule and lack of time. Despite Dr. Vasi apologizing, Sana decides to end their relationship, feeling that he prioritizes machines over her. In frustration with Dr. Vasi's lack of romantic gestures, Sana returns the gifts and books that he had given her. Dr. Vasi demands that she returns the 512 kisses that he has given her, threatening to call off the breakup if she does not. In response, Sana kisses him as repayment, and the two reconcile their love once again. Meanwhile, a police officer confronts Chitty for a parking violation, and during the argument, the officer is left confused. Chitty claims to reside at an IP address instead of a home address, and says that it was not born but made, and does not have any parents. The officer demands payment for the violation, but Chitty cuts the officer's hand with a knife instead. Dr. Vasi and Sana arrive on the scene, and upon seeing the situation, the three of them quickly depart in a vehicle. Later, at an international conference, Dr. Vasi presents Chitty, which impresses the audience with its effortless answers to their questions. Chitty further demonstrates its abilities by painting a portrait of Sana, and becomes very popular with the ladies. After the presentation, Dr. Vasi's former mentor, Dr. Bora, approaches him and appears unhappy with his achievement and success. Dr. Bora takes Chitty for a walk and secretly inquires about its specifications, but when he asks about the robot's neural brain function, Chitty refuses to answer, stating that it is highly confidential, and informs Dr. Vasi. Dr. Vasi declares that he will not reveal anything until he has obtained a patent. It turns out that Dr. Bora is also working on developing android humanoid robots, but they are all malfunctioning and not following orders, causing him to be extremely envious of Dr. Vasi's success. One of the robots even attempts to strangle Dr. Bora after being scolded. Sana brings Chitty along to help her study for the exams, but their peace is disrupted by loud noises from the neighborhood. When the pair tries to ask the offenders to lower the volume, the offenders instead turn up the volume despite them. Chitty utilizes its infrared abilities and increases the volume of their entertainment system until it explodes, teaching them a lesson. As Sana continues studying, music from a local religious festival suddenly starts playing loudly. Chitty tries to negotiate with the organizers of the festival, but they do not listen. So the robot enters the venue and destroys the music player. The offenders attempt to attack Chitty, but the robot activates its electromagnetic mode, attracting all metal objects, including their weapons, towards it. Chitty then forms the metal objects into an armor that resembles the Mother Goddess, causing bystanders to start worshipping Chitty. Even when one of the offenders tries to attack, Chitty humiliates him and walks away while being praised by the locals. The next day, Chitty gives Sana a spy earpiece to provide her with the answers to her exams. Two professors approach Chitty and ask what the robot is doing. Chitty innocently reveals that it is helping Sana. During the exam, the professors confront Sana in the exam hall, but she quickly takes out the earpiece and pretends that she does not know Chitty. The robot is confused by the situation, as it is programmed never to lie. The professors eventually believe her and expel the robot from the university. Now, without Chitty's help, Sana is at a loss with her exam, but somehow Chitty sneaks in the ceiling and, using his abilities, projects all the answers on her hands, allowing Sana to copy them. After the exam, they both get on a train to head home. Gangsters from the previous festival also board the train and confront Sana and Chitty, with non-metallic weapons this time. They grab Sana's handbag and toss it out of the train while Chitty goes to fetch it. The gangsters start harassing Sana, who screams for help. Chitty arrives back and a huge fight ensues, with Chitty managing to defeat each of the gangsters. However, Chitty eventually runs out of battery power and gets kicked off the train. Chitty charges himself using an electric cable and runs back to the train, where he beats up all the gangsters using Chinese martial arts. The pair arrive home safely, with Chitty being repaired by Dr. Vasi. Chitty now helps with domestic chores while being trained for military purposes. Dr. Vasi brings Chitty to the Artificial Intelligence Research and Development Headquarters for evaluation. The scientists state that android humanoids like Chitty can be used in wars to minimize casualties and ask for approval to mass-produce the robots. The board members test Chitty with several logical thinking questions, which it answers flawlessly. However, Dr. Bora intervenes and orders Chitty to perform various nonsensical commands, including one to kill Dr. Vasi. Chitty rushes to attack Dr. Vasi, but Dr. Bora stops the robot just before it can stab him. Dr. Bora disapproves the request, stating that Chitty is not ready for military use and can only be used for domestic services. Dr. Vasi and Chitty drive home disheartened, where they come across a huge fire accident. Chitty runs towards the burning building, disregarding its own safety and clothes that are burning up, and rescues the trapped people. However, a woman who is taking a bath is rescued and feels extremely humiliated when the news crew and everyone sees her naked. She runs into the street in tears and is hit by a truck. Dr. Bora, who is watching from his room, calls Dr. Vasi and blames the stupidity of the robot for the woman's death. Using his position at the Ministry of Defense, Dr. Bora orders Dr. Vasi to stop the project because of the viral broadcast of the naked woman. Dr. Vasi states that he can add human emotions to Chitty, so Dr. Bora gives him a month to improve the robot. Dr. Vasi instructs Chitty to download and learn all books about human emotions and even installs hormone simulation software into it. The lessons and training continue until Chitty is struck by lightning and malfunctions. The next day, Chitty is repaired, but Dr. Vasi is frustrated with the robot's lack of progress and complains to Sana. Chitty surprisingly shouts back, displaying that it now has human emotions. Chitty now feels remorse for the woman that got hit by the truck and pays a visit to her grave, which touches Dr. Vasi and Sana deeply. Soon after, Sana receives a call about a woman who is experiencing critical labor complications, and the three of them quickly rush to the hospital. Chitty offers to help, but the doctor initially refuses because of the complicated nature of the delivery. After a heated argument, and recognizing Chitty's advanced knowledge of the matter, the doctor ultimately agrees to let Chitty take the lead. The robot leads the operation while streaming it online, showcasing its skills and kindness for the world to see. Everyone watches anxiously for the baby's delivery. The birth is a resounding success, and everyone is overjoyed and celebrates. Dr. Bora arrives at the hospital and grudgingly acknowledges Chitty's abilities. Elated, Sana rushes to kiss Chitty on the cheek as a reward for the success of the delivery. Dr. Bora warns the scientist that Sana may ditch him in favor of Chitty, as the robot has now developed human emotions. That evening, Chitty repeatedly rewinds and replays the moment when Sana kissed him. Chitty, still feeling overjoyed, goes and asks a mosquito to apologize to Sana for biting her, in exchange for another kiss on the cheek, but is refused. On the other hand, Dr. Bora secretly meets with some terrorists seeking to exploit Chitty's capabilities for malicious purposes. The terrorists order 100 robots and provide a down payment. But a few months later, they nearly kill Dr. Bora when he says that he is still testing them and that the robots have not yet been completed. The next day, Dr. Vasi and Chitty purchase gifts and jewelry for Sana in celebration of her birthday. Chitty emulates everything Dr. Vasi does and even defies his creator at the party. Sana is more impressed with Chitty's gift and decides to wear it, leaving Dr. Vasi feeling envious. The doctor becomes insecure and abruptly announces to everyone that he will marry her. Everyone rejoices at the announcement, and a jealous Chitty asks Sana to dance, which she accepts. At some point, Chitty almost kisses Sana, but Dr. Vasi intervenes. They go outside where Chitty confesses his love for her, which angers Dr. Vasi. However, Chitty refuses to comply. Sana makes it clear that humans and machines cannot be together and expresses her love for the scientist, leaving the robot heartbroken. The robot walks away after the conversation. Later that night, Dr. Bora intercepts Chitty's communication signal and convinces the robot to join him by promising to give it equal treatment. The next day, Chitty participates in a military evaluation to determine its suitability. When asked to throw a grenade, the robot sets the grenade on the table and throws a rose into it. Chitty begins to recite romantic poetry while imagining Sana in his mind. Everyone ridicules the robot and walks away from the evaluation, causing Dr. Vasi to destroy the robot's arms and legs in frustration. Despite Chitty's multiple pleas and declaration of love for Sana, the doctor puts an end to the robot's life and discards its spare parts. The couple then goes on an extended holiday and enjoys each other's company. Eventually, Dr. Vasi officially proposes to Sana. After learning that Chitty has been discarded, Dr. Bora sets out to find the robot's parts in a landfill. On the brink of giving up, Chitty drags itself to the back seat of Dr. Bora's car, who then brings the robot to his lab. Chitty repeatedly states its love for Sana and wants to live. Finally, Chitty agrees to give Dr. Bora the information he seeks after the promise of full restoration to his former robot self. However, Dr. Bora adds an extra red microchip that includes a destruction program, transforming Chitty into a menacing demon-like robot with the strength of 100 humans. Chitty learns about Sana's wedding to Dr. Vasi and rushes to the venue to abduct Sana. When Sana resists, the robot goes out of control and terrorizes her by shooting a man instead of Dr. Vasi, while keeping her captive as they flee the wedding. Chitty continues to shoot at multiple people at the event, using his telekinetic powers to remotely pilot a car for their getaway. The police pursue Chitty, but the robot again employs its telekinetic powers to cause the crash of all their motorcycles. Despite being outnumbered by a large number of police officers, Chitty continues to overpower them until they block the road and open fire. Chitty uses the Mercedes car with Sana still in it as a shield and activates its electromagnetic mode when cornered, pulling all the rifles towards him. By using its powers, Chitty aligns the guns in the air and launches a devastating counterattack, killing everyone at the scene. After making a successful escape, Chitty drives off with Sana and seeks refuge in Dr. Bora's lab, where it repairs its damaged body. The police confront Dr. Vasi and hold him responsible for the destruction caused by Chitty. Recognizing that the robot's system has been corrupted, Dr. Vasi orders Chitty to return to his lab. However, Chitty disobeys and steals a truck to rob jewelry, perfumes, and other items from stores to impress Sana. The robot then goes to a military base, steals a truck filled with weapons, and drives off with it. The police and military join forces to defeat Chitty, who has stolen an oil truck. They eventually manage to corner the robot and destroy the truck with a missile. Upon arriving at the crime scene, Dr. Vasi discovers that the remains are not those of Chitty, leading him to suspect Dr. Bora's involvement. He and the police head to Dr. Bora's laboratory, where they find the scientist already dead. Dr. Vasi examines the CCTV footage and discovers that Chitty has formed an army of robots that all have the exact same appearance. Dr. Bora attempted to stop this as he had plans to sell the robots to terrorists, and threatened to harm Sana if Chitty did not comply. However, the clones saved Sana and dealt with Dr. Bora, and Chitty personally executed him. Chitty then proceeds to the art museum and kills everyone present. Chitty converts the art museum into his own kingdom and headquarters, completely guarded by the cloned robots, and filled with all the jewelry and clothing that had previously been stolen. Despite Chitty's belief that Sana has been won over, she remains uncomfortable and states that it's impossible for her to marry a robot. In response, Chitty comes up with the idea of creating an artificial embryo so they could have a child hybrid robot together, which he calls Robo Sapiens. However, when Chitty attempts to kiss Sana, she passes out. While this is happening, Dr. Vasi collaborates with the police and disguises himself as Chitty, infiltrating the robot kingdom undetected. He sneaks past the other clones and goes to the kitchen and prepares food. He then makes his way to Sana's room with the food cart, deactivates a robot, and reveals his true identity to her. At first, Sana doesn't believe him, so Dr. Vasi cuts himself to prove that he's human, which puts her at ease, causing her to embrace him. He shares his plan with her, instructing her to keep Chitty distracted for the next 24 hours. Dr. Vasi's plan involves shutting down the city's entire electricity grid, which he accomplishes with the help of his team. However, Chitty remains unaware of the incoming threat, as Sana begins to seduce the robot. The seduction lasts for a long time with song and dance, leading to Chitty and the clones being left without a power source. In a moment of desperation, Chitty kills a man and uses his car to recharge itself just before its battery runs out. The clone robots also run to the streets and recharge themselves. Upon returning to headquarters, Chitty discovers human blood and realizes that Dr. Vasi is present. Suspecting Sana's loyalty, Chitty gathers its army in formation and orders them to spin their heads 360 degrees to locate Dr. Vasi. As Dr. Vasi is still human, he is unable to perform the action and is easily identified by Chitty. Just as Chitty is about to shoot Dr. Vasi, the military army storms into Chitty's headquarters and starts firing, using non-metallic weapons and flashes to disorient the robots. Chitty orders all the clones to merge and form a protective shield, launching a counterattack. The clone robots fight their way out of the building, battling the entire army and transforming into different forms in order to eliminate their forces. Dr. Vasi successfully hacks into one of the robots and gains access to the root architecture of the robot. He installs a worm virus, which temporarily cripples the entire robot army. Chitty detects the source of the worm virus and issues a command to self-destruct, eliminating the source. The clone robots reactivate and drill their way underground, transforming into an enormous giant robot as they emerge from underground. As the giant robot continues its pursuit, Dr. Vasi and Sana try to make their escape in a van. Despite efforts from the military to intervene, the robot easily destroys every vehicle that comes its way. Dr. Vasi manages to locate the true Chitty and shoots a worm transmitter that attaches to its body, transferring a virus that deactivates its electromagnetic powers. Using a massive magnet, Dr. Vasi pulls Chitty into the van. After an intense struggle, Dr. Vasi successfully deactivates the robot army by hacking the captured Chitty and removing its red chip. Dr. Vasi is initially sentenced to death for the destruction caused by his creation, but Chitty rises to challenge the decision and provides evidence that the late Dr. Bora was actually responsible for the destruction. The court ultimately decides that Dr. Vasi is not guilty, but the use of humanoid robots is banned due to the potential for them to turn against humans or be misused by terrorists. Chitty agrees with this decision and is ordered to dismantle itself. The robot apologizes to its creator, and Dr. Vasi embraces Chitty. Chitty reminisces the good memories and thanks everyone while removing its head and deactivating itself. In 2030, a group of students on a school trip to an AI museum come across Chitty's displayed head, and their teacher explains the robot's history as the most advanced Andro Humanoid Robot ever created. When a student asks why Chitty was dismantled, the head surprisingly replies, shocking the student.
Thanks for watching. For more movie recaps like this, please like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. Have a wonderful day.